The death of Jedi Master Qui-Gon Jinn not only served to shake the very foundation of the Jedi and the Republic, but the entire galaxy at large. Oftentimes in the lore, the death of Qui-Gon is understated and is looked at far more personally. However, the implications of what this meant on the wider galaxy are extremely compelling, and in them, we can learn the mystery of why the Jedi Council decided to lie about the death of Qui-Gon Jinn, keeping what actually killed him under wraps, and how all of the Jedi Temple was shook by the death of such a powerful Jedi. Something that is understated quite often about Qui-Gon Jinn is just how powerful he truly was. As the apprentice of Dooku, the greatest swordsman that the Jedi Order had possibly ever seen behind Yoda, Qui-Gon was renowned as a skilled tactician and a warrior. So skilled in fact, that Dooku believed that he could outmatch many members of the Jedi High Council, and was pleased with his apprentice's growth in lightsaber combat. Qui-Gon Jinn was known to be exceptionally strong, and was far stronger than the average Form 4 practitioner in Ataru. Qui-Gon was known for his acrobatics, and able to follow this up with terrifying power strikes. Many considered Qui-Gon Jinn to be one of the greatest warriors of the galaxy, having a lot of hand-on experience with small skirmishes. Despite never joining the Jedi Council, Qui-Gon was looked upon with great respect and admiration. So, when news broke from Obi-Wan Kenobi that Qui-Gon Jinn had been killed by none other than a Sith Lord, the Jedi Council was shaken to their core. This caused the Council to draw an emergency meeting, the same meeting where they would allow Kenobi to train Skywalker. Before this though, they had to discuss the implications of the return of the Sith. The last time the Sith had existed in the Star Wars galaxy, there were hundreds, if not thousands of them, and the Jedi Council actively believed that Darth Maul was not the only Darksider, and that there were more Sith hiding in the shadows. Initially, the Jedi Council believed that hundreds, if not thousands of Sith could still be lurking out there, with only Yoda being able to calm their spirits, stating that he believed that the Sith had fallen under the rule of two. The reason Yoda knew this is because of the ancient Sith Lord Darth Gravid, the Sith Lord that wanted to merge the ideologies of the Jedi and Sith into one. In the end, before Gravid was killed by his own Sith master, a lot of the information regarding the rule of two was acquired by the Jedi, and although the Jedi did not directly interact with any member of the rule of two, and most of the Jedi still doubted the Sith's existence in the first place, Yoda was familiar with the prospect of two Sith Lords. Holding this information though, the Jedi Council still decided to keep the death of Qui-Gon Jinn a secret, believing that it would cause mass panic, as the last major conflict between the Jedi and Sith, known as the 7th Battle of Ruusan, resulted in one of the longest battles the galaxy had ever seen. And because of the thought bomb that was devised by Darth Bane, every single Jedi and Sith on the world of Ruusan were instantly killed, their spirits trapped in a state of limbo and purgatory for eternity. This is the last that the galaxy saw of the Sith, and because of this, the prospect of their return was terrifying. What's extremely compelling about this is that one Jedi stood against the idea of not revealing that Qui-Gon Jinn was killed by a Dark Lord. That Jedi was Qui-Gon Jinn's own father figure and former master in Dooku. Dooku held the strong belief that they needed to weed out the Sith of the galaxy using all of their resources, pleading with the Council and explaining to them that the resources of just the Jedi Council would never be enough to find the Sith. Dooku was one of the few to realize that the Sith had been able to evolve after hundreds of years, and although most of the Jedi Council was put at ease at the fact that there was only one other Dark Lord present, the prospects of this absolutely shook Dooku to his core. But more than this, he thought the Jedi were utter fools by not moving to eradicate the Sith immediately. If the galaxy were to realize that the Sith had returned, it would cause mass chaos. The last time the Sith were present in the galaxy, they were a massive organization, and the wars that they wrought upon the galaxy were not strictly involving Jedi versus Sith, but millions upon millions of civilian casualties in the last war. The Jedi Council was then forced to restrict their movements in the galaxy while searching for the Sith, as not to tip anyone off that the Dark Lords had in fact returned. It was during this same time that Sidious would also learn of the death of Maul. Remarkably, the Jedi were honest with the Senator, believing at the time that he was one of the few in the galaxy worthy of this information. This is what Sidious had to say of the death of Maul. He hesitated in order to revel in the moment of his triumph. He then did not have enough time to parry the blow. that might have been the last great surprise of his life. My worthy apprentice failed me in the end, for within his vanity and his impatient hunger for victory, he had underestimated the resilient Kenobi. The Council would admit to the wider galaxy that Qui-Gon was killed during the Battle of Naboo, but not by a Sith Lord. This would be the final straw of Dooku, compromising locating the Sith Master to keep the galaxy at large comfortable. He scorned the Council as they did not follow Jinn's request for aid, not only putting Qui-Gon Jinn's life on the line, but also the life of his young apprentice. Before Dooku departed, he searched the archives feverishly for any information on this second Sith Lord, desiring to hunt him down and kill him personally, seeing that the Jedi would not. Unfortunately though, Dooku would find no greater secrets of the dark side hidden within the archives, and permanently left the Jedi. In Legends continuity, Darth Sidious would later play on this idea, explaining that in the eyes of the Dark Lord, it was the Council that was responsible for the death of Qui-Gon Jinn, not Sidious or Maul. And although Dooku would never forgive his master for killing his apprentice, he still believed that it was the greater good. It was true that it was the Jedi Council who sent Qui-Gon Jinn off to die. This played brilliantly into Sidious's plan, as he then began to pull strings and have Darksiders pop up all around the galaxy, confirming to the average citizen that the threats of the dark side had in fact arisen, and more than that the Jedi chose not to reveal the truth, sowing the ultimate seeds for their distrust and the destruction of the Order. When Dooku emerged as a Dark Lord of the Sith, the Jedi Council still refused to address this publicly, and refused to admit that one of the greatest of their Order now belonged to a far more sinister one. Dooku, while leading the Separatist movement, commented on this simple idea. Unlike the Republic, corporations do not rule us. They provide us with our armies, our fleets, our military leadership, and the Sith just so happen to be the founding leaders of our new government. Dooku's former alignment to the Jedi was a key contributing factor to their ultimate downfall. The public of the galaxy distrusted the Jedi so greatly that they discarded them at a moment's notice. Luke Skywalker would even later comment that the greatest flaw of the Jedi was that they began serving the Republic and a government and not the galaxy. And that, my friends and acolytes, is the decision for the Jedi Council to omit the truth about Qui-Gon Jinn was one of the greatest contributing factors to their demise. If they had been honest, maybe things could have been different. But anyway, my friends and fellow students of the Force, what are your thoughts on this lore and why the Jedi Council lied about the death of Qui-Gon Jinn? As always, my friends, thank you for visiting the archives, and may the Force be with you.